Yo, 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 what is up? Fun game slate tonight for the NBA. Last night, a recap. We Levine smashed. A lot of
Yep.
that was a high scoring game. Levine smashed, man. He was nuts. Lights out to start that game for sure. But really strong, man. Shot a ton of free throws. Shot well from three. He hit, and then Trey Jones did not hit the over on the assist. And man, it just looked like the perfect spot. And I feel good about the play. Right, that game. What was that game, like a 260 total or something? Without
Yeah.
OT, like, or 250 or something like that. It's crazy. Yeah, he just it was kind of weird. It was a weird game overall. I think Richardson had like 10 assists in that one. Just a lot of like, you know, Trey to start possessions, giving it to Pirtle, and then Pirtle's not pulling, so it's being rotated among the other guards. So it looked like a really good spot with FSL, but hey, we're not here to just explain our losses. We move ahead, move forward, and it's a pretty interesting slate tonight. I think some like pretty closer spread games, right? The biggest spread tonight is 6.5, I believe, which is pretty nice. So some decent total games. I mean, you've got some, you got this 217.5 OKC Clippers game, but 225 in this first one. Dallas Brooklyn. We'll look at this one first. Injury wise, a lot of the same guys for Brooklyn. Joe Harris is out tonight. I know he had played in the last game, but he's out tonight. And then for Dallas, nothing massive. I mean, Hardaway might play tonight, but I don't think that's a huge impact on, unless, I mean, if there's some kind of, I don't know. I don't think that impacts Dinwiddie too much, but we can take a look at these lines here. 3-point spread. This one's in Brooklyn, 225.5 total. I do want to call out, I think what people, they might look at like Luka against Ben Simmons, like defensively. I know a lot of people like to look up individual players. I think it's a smart thing to do, but I will say Brooklyn just has not defensively been able to really stop anybody. And I mean, they've been giving up a ton of points to the point guard spot. Played a lot of like pretty good point guards already, but I mean, obviously Luka's up there. So even with Luka at his high line in the history at this 32.5, I don't think it's a fade. Or I don't think it's an under, I guess I'll say. I know it's a high line, but man, Luka's looks so good, and I don't see him slowing down tonight. Why am I liking this Herder over for points assists last night? His is usually in points alone. Yeah, the game is, it's interesting. It's a decent total. We can take a look at that one next for sure. Anything on the point side you're liking? I know you've got KD here at 28.5. Good value on the over there.
Yeah, I don't hate KD or Kyrie really in this game. I kind of like the Brooklyn guys more than the Mavs guys as far as scoring goes.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, just because Lucas high so our line is so high, I mean, I'm not gonna like go the under. I'm not gonna, I don't love playing it because if Simmons is kind of actually doing well defensively, like as bad as he's been, he's a good defender.
Right.
Um,
And like a 30-point night for Luca, it's like these like crazy high lines, especially for a guy like Luca
right.
who it's not crazy. I mean, he can do 33 and 10, don't get me wrong, but I mean, I think he's just shown, maybe you're getting a little too cute, but I mean, I think it's a realistic possibility that like Luca comes out, has a good game, but just with the way the Nets have been defensively across the board, he's able to be more of an assist guy tonight. He's got a pretty nice assist line too. I actually don't hate it. The 7.5, if we want to peek ahead there. I know we were taking some rebounds
Yep.
and assist line for Luca.
Yeah,
Do you
I just feel
prefer
safer
that?
about that. Yeah, I feel safer with that, right? Because like you said, he can have a 30-point game and still not cover. So it's like
Right.
I would rather, you know, bank on either rebounds plus assists or just straight up assists. I also like Dinwiddie assists a lot. I think it's at 3.5. I don't know if it's on underdog right
No,
now
I'm
though.
not seeing an underdog, but yeah, I
Okay.
mean, obviously the values are really good there. That might be one that's a 4 flat line, just in terms of what we see sometimes with the value being like a minus 140, 150 in a lot of books.
Yeah.
Typically, those are
But
like the flat lines, one ahead.
yeah, no, I do like the assist line for Brooklyn. Brooklyn gives up 7.5 assists just overall to the point guard spot. And so now you bring in a guy like Luka who's just elite at what he does, obviously. So
Yeah.
I like that. I also don't hate the rebounds because I mean, like we said last time, right? It's just so often that he can get a double double in either stat category. It just kind of depends on how the game shapes out. So I feel better about going rebounds and assists again. And the line's not moved very much, right? He covered that
Hmm.
the last time we took it. and it's still at 15.5 on some books. I believe it's at 16.5 on Underdog. But for the Mavs side, yeah, I think I like that more, those peripherals more than his points. Just a little high for me.
Yeah.
Because he could just have like a meh shooting night and just not get there, right? Like he could still get close with the, free throw line and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
he'd have to be pretty efficient to cover that and feel good about it for me. And Luka's never been one to like have consistent efficiency, so I'm not
Yeah.
super high on that. I would look more to like the discount of Dinwiddie because I think he is starting to emerge a little bit more. Like he had 15 in the first two games, finally had a better game against, I think it was the Pelicans, another bad defense against guards. So he took advantage of that. So I like this game to be another kind of guard heavy game with Luka and Dinwiddie. So I
Yeah.
like his assists, I like his points. So if anything, I'd probably play Dinwiddie, but yeah, I think as far as the big guys go, I feel better about Kyrie and KD's lines.
Yeah, I think from a pure points perspective, I do tend to agree there. I mean, obviously Lucas sucks in so much offensive usage, and obviously KD and Kyrie do that as well. And I think offensively too. I mean, this just feels like a pretty good spot. I feel like this is one of those. We've talked about it about a couple of games, but I feel like this is one where, with just where these two teams are at and have kind of played over the past couple of games, I could really see this one being a high scoring, close game for sure. And obviously the spread points to that, but still, I do like this one. And yeah, I like
I think
KD.
I think matchup wise too, it gets a little tricky for the Mavericks against KD because I feel like you don't really want to put DFS on KD. Like you want to put DFS on KD, but
Mm-hmm.
then like who do you put on like Royce O'Neal and Ben Simmons? Like their lineups very different from what the Mavericks are going to start.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you put Reggie Bullock on Durant? Do you put DFS on Durant, and then do you put Reggie Bullock, sleep him on Ben Simmons? That's probably what we'll see, right? Is Bullock
Right.
sleeping on Simmons, DFS on Durant? So I like DFS as a
Right.
defender, but I think there's a lot of different schemes that Steve Nash can do tonight to really like make KD and Kyrie look like better.
Yeah, no, I do
I think they
think
match up
I
better.
think lineup wise, I think it would obviously make the most sense for DFS to be on KD just
Yeah,
defensively, and then his length, obviously. Yeah, you don't want to be in a spot where you have to have like Bullock or something on KD consistently. So I would
yeah.
imagine that, but yeah,
But so it's an interesting game. I think my favorite plays of the night are in almost every other game, or not in this game at least.
yeah,
So those
we can
are
peek ahead.
lines that I kind of like or don't like. But yeah, the other games I think are lines that I feel better about.
Yeah, and I do want to say, I know we talked about like not wanting to necessarily play Luca tonight. Man, he's been so good too, and he's just shot so much. Like I know that's kind of like what
Right.
you expect from Luca, but he was 2 for 13 in that Pelicans game from three, and still had 37. Like it's just he shot the ball 30 times, and that's like not including like those free throw trips. Like it's just crazy, and I think like it's just one of those like you just expect that from Luca night in and night out. And yes, he's gonna have like an inefficient shooting game, but he's gonna be right around 29 points a night.
Right.
So it's
Crazy.
never an under for me. It's always just a
Oh,
matter of if I
okay.
feel like the value's there for the over. And I think that
Yes.
this is one of those where it's more of a fade.
Yep.
We can go to actually. All right, we're back here. I'm loading up the Kings Grizzlies.
Yes.
Let's see. I know some of these later games don't have the lines up sometimes, but it looks like we do for this one.
Yep.
And yeah, let's peek ahead for this one here. Let me back this out so we can see. Injury wise, nothing massive. Obviously, nothing big for the Kings side. On the Memphis side, it's all the guys you kind of expect to be out. So nothing crazy there. This one's it's only a 3.5 spread, 236 total. Now the Kings are at home, so I think that
Yep.
kind of is like a little bit of a nod there. Like I think this was in Memphis, you'd expect it to be closer to, like the 6, 7, 8 point spread. But do you like this one? You like this one to stay close? It's a really nice total, really nice pace up spot for the Kings. So I think these like Kings points plays are pretty appealing with that total and what this game should look like. So do you like a herder, or are there other Kings lines that jump out to you more?
I don't hate a herder. There's other lines that I like more. I really like Sabonis in this game.
Mm,
Um, Memphis is almost last in defense versus the center spot. Should, like you said, should be a good pace, high volume in scoring game, and he's got a good history against the Grizzlies, especially in rebounding. I don't think he's played them yet with the Kings, but when he was with the Pacers, he had, I think, the last three games were like 13, 14, 13 boards. And then the offensive volume was a little low, but closer to kind of like what he's been
Mhm.
with the Kings. So, I mean, so far Memphis can't stop the 5 spot right now because they either play Adams and they kind of get schemed a little differently. They stretch the floor against Adams, or they have to get rid of Adams and they're undersized, right?
Yep.
So I like Sabonis to take advantage of that tonight here again. So I like his 17.5 points. I also like his 10.5 rebounds a lot. I think I like his rebounds more. But I could also do the points and rebounds, which I think is at 28.5. So I like Sabonis to have a good game here. It's a matter of if I like the points or rebounds more. I like them both. I don't know which one I like.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's up, Double Cup Cam? I see Fox has been playing good lately. Yeah, man. Fox been
Yeah.
really good too. I think this points line at 26.5. I mean, I'd be really, really interested in taking that. If it was at like the 20, 24, 25, like it's been earlier this season. But I want to peek at his assists here.
Yeah.
Because we talked about Fox this season and that being an area we thought that he would kind of come back to what he's been in his career versus the past couple seasons. We're at 6.5. I don't know why I thought it would be maybe at like a 5.5 or 6. He's been really good. I still don't hate it just with like the offensive usage you get from him. This game, I just really like this game overall. And I mean, Fox being a guy, I mean, he's at 16 potential assists over the first 3 games on average. And obviously we talk about that for the guard spot for the most part. You look at around 50%, maybe a little bit under 50%, because a lot of that's dependent on the kind of shots that are being taken, field goal percentage, whatever. But yeah, I mean, for him to, 15 potential into him needing to hit 7, I feel like you feel pretty good about in a pace up high total spot. Do you have a favorite Fox play? Would you prefer points over this 6.5 assist line, or would you go assists?
I would go assists. Memphis is surprisingly decent at defending the point guard spot. They're almost last in assists per game at 7.8. And if you look at the teams they've played, it's Brunson, it's KPJ or Jalen Green, it's Luca, and then it's like Kyrie or Ben Simmons. So it's not like these guys that they're playing are like incredible guards that really skews the stats on the season so
Right.
far for them
And
giving
I
up all
think
those.
a lot of those guys are pretty comparable to like what De'Aaron Fox does, right? I mean, you look at a
Yeah,
guy like
fast
KPJ.
scoring guard.
Yeah.
Yep. So like Brunson, you wouldn't expect him to be at 7, 8, 9 assists every game. Same with like KPJ or Jalen Green. Same with even Ben Simmons or Kyrie. So they've actually given up a lot of assists to kind of some comparable or even less than De'Aaron Fox type guards as far as passing is concerned. So I feel a lot better about his assists than his points. I do like that at 6.5.
Yeah. Yeah. Yo, what's up, Austin? Thoughts on Keegan Murray so far? He's not even on the slate, been liking his performance late. Yeah, I think Keegan's one of those guys who, like, obviously the other rookies are getting a lot more talk because they've played more, and we've only seen Keegan, I think just 2 games, right? He's just played these last 2 for the Kings. But he's looked good, man. He's been pretty solid. I think that I know people are talking about him being like the most pro ready player as far as like a win now team and the Kings wanting to be that. But I think he looks legit. Like I think he like looks and feels like an NBA player, which honestly, all these rookies, or at least the top ones, have looked amazing, right? Like who would you say doesn't look pro ready like all the way through? Ben Caro, Jabari has even had like a solid game, Jaden Ivey, and you don't say that a lot about rookies in their first 5 games.
Yeah.
Even for the top drafted ones, right? I mean, think about some of Cade's early games, even Mobley, Scotty, Maxey, a lot of those guys. It takes a little bit for those guys to come in, so they've looked really good. Chet, dude, that sucks, man. I would love to be like talking Chet, looking at Chet lines for stuff. That's sad.
Yeah, it is sad.
I agree. Fox might go out playing against. Yeah, I just think this game in general too. So like, it's obviously we're looking at these assist lines, and like I like Fox to have a good game all around tonight. Like I think he'll be around 24 points, and I think he can still 24, 25, 26, 27, somewhere in that range. And I think he can still have a strong assist game. We've seen that this season. And yeah, I mean this game in general, right? Good total, pace up spot. I think this one feels like a close, 240, 250 potential game, which you love, right?
Yeah.
I think it can be close. It's a really close spread. I mean, I wouldn't have predicted Memphis, Sacramento. I mean, I like Sacramento's team heading into the season, but I wouldn't have predicted this total to be, or the spread to be 3.5. I think that kind of surprised me a little bit. Do you think this game like you would take Memphis 3.5, right?
Yeah, it feels a little trappy to me.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like a lot of sharps like to take the home underdog, but I would take Memphis 3.5. I'm not going to play that, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I
I
agree.
like I just yeah I like the over more. I like the pace of
Yeah.
this game. Two guards that love to push the ball forward. You know, the guys that are going to receive the ball to start their possessions both love to push it. And so you know Fox versus Ja is going to be should be a high pace, high scoring game, and the fact that it's in Sacramento I think does help both to the scoring and the spread. But yeah, I like Fox on the other side here for Memphis. I actually really like Desmond Bain points. He's at 19 and a
He's
half.
been
You
hot.
know, yeah, last game just on fire, 38 points. Again, good pace for both teams, so it's good for scoring and the overs on scoring. And Sacramento struggles against the two guard in scoring, and Bain covered this the last two times that they've played the Kings. There's really only been three times that he's played the Kings since kind of his emergence as a player,
Hmm.
and he's covered it in the last two. So I like him to get 20 points in this game. I think a game that's so high scoring with an implied total of what, like 115 to 120 on the
Yeah.
Memphis side, that kind of implied total for Bane not to be in the 20s is kind of would be surprising to me. So I like the pace, I like the matchup, and I like the line. So I like
Yeah.
Bane a lot over 19 and a half.
Yeah, no, and I know like obviously, I think he had like two like 14-point games. Obviously, he had the really high game last. I think I feel a little bit better about this line for Bane. Just looking at what Memphis is gonna play, right? I know like Aldama's been really good, but from a volume perspective, like Bane's gonna be able to have pretty consistent volume, for this first stretch of the season, even with Brooks back, right? We saw Brooks in this last one take 13 shots, and Bane, had that monster game. So yeah, I don't hate
I
that.
feel even better about it now. Looking, I didn't even see this. Looking at that pinnacle line being at minus 140 and the value being on the over, you
Yeah.
can get some good value there for underdog. So yeah, I really like that line.
Yeah, and just for reference, I know we throw out phrases like the pinnacle line, and a lot of people like aren't familiar with a lot of these. So we basically what this site is, we're referencing different sports books compared to obviously underdog, and it's kind of in these different columns here. And the higher this minus number is, the more the books are valuing the over, or like the odds are in the over's sense. And obviously it has to do with betting. If you're putting money on that. And then we talk about the pinnacle line. It's this right here, and it's just basically one of the sharper books. So usually, you tend to read into those lines more than a DraftKings or what have you. So we tend to reference that a little bit more. But yeah, all right, talk to me about Ja 30 and a half.
Uh, it's similar to Luca in the thinking
Oh,
behind that,
he's
but I think
so
it's better.
good, dude.
Yeah,
He's
it's
just
similar to my
so
thinking with
good.
Luca, but the line is also just it's not as scary to me than Lucas. So I like the over
Hmm.
there. Just because I like Bane over at 19.5 doesn't mean that he can't go over. I mean, we just saw them both go for 38 against the
Yeah.
Nets. So yeah, I mean, I would take the over again. It's he's just such an efficient guard, right? The matchup is a little scary. Josh is him, so it probably doesn't matter. But Fox is a good defender, and he can keep up with his pace a little bit better. But I mean, you got to go the over if anything.
Yeah, yeah. I know you talked about Fox a little bit. I mean, obviously you have no worries about Ja, even in tough matchups. I don't know if I would call Fox like a tough, but I do think he's an underrated defender.
Yes.
Swipa,
Hmm.
that's why they call him Swipa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else in this game, or do you want to take a look at some of these other games? I know we talked about it. Draymond over 6.5 points. Man, it's Draymond is just such a interesting man. Draymond was the first player that made us play an under when we were giving out props last season. It was Draymond
uh,
PRA, and we were like,
and
bro,
and it hit.
and it hit. Yeah, I think it hit back to back. Um, but yeah, you got Draymond points at 6.5. I'll peek. We'll take a look at this game.
Yeah, let's go
This
to that game.
one, Golden State, Miami, 227 total, which is obviously it's not a great total, but it's really good for a Miami game. Miami
Right,
games
right,
traditionally are like 212. You're looking
right.
at like low 210. So decent total for Miami. Golden State is at home. It's a 6.5 point spread for the Warriors. Injury wise, nothing massive. Obviously, Oladipo's been out. Same with um, these other guys, and they're not super impactful. So nothing huge on the injury front. 6.5 point spread, 227 total for Golden State. And on the
Yeah.
point side, you got Draymond. You do get him at
Yeah.
7 flat on underdog, so it's
I like his.
good.
I
It's
mean,
good value.
Yeah, I don't hate him. I like him probably for more of like a PRA, or if you're, on different sites or on Underdog, like fantasy score line. Um, he's gonna have the best matchup. He's gonna have Struce on him. There's no way they can mix anything up to put like there's no reason for them to put Jimmy on him. They're not gonna put Bam on him because he needs to be on the bigger guy like Looney. Like sure
Mhm.
they'll probably switch a lot. I mean both these teams can, but I like Green's matchup to exploit the most. But again, he's a high volume shooter, so I just kind of like him overall to be more free on the offensive end to facilitate, to rebound, to score.
Yeah.
So I like his PRA or his fantasy score more than his points strictly. It's a little bit scarier. I kind of like the safety of like the full stat line that I think he can give you in this game. And he does decent against the Heat in historically.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's averaged. I think he's like right below 9. Like he's like I think I got 8.9 here against the Heat in his career, and obviously, over the past couple of years, it's been closer to 7 than 8. But still, yeah, I don't hate it. I think it's these like low volume plays like a Draymond are so tough, right? Because I mean, all it is 3 layups and a trip to the line for him to get to 7.
And a 3-point shot like he has a backpack on. It's my favorite. Just watching him shoot it is so funny to
He's got
me.
a bag full of bricks on his
Yeah,
back.
like on shore, like he's got the double strap backpack on,
Yeah.
pushes it in.
He just wants to lean. He wants to get as close as he can to the
Yeah,
hoop
yeah,
for his
yeah.
release for those shots. Nah, it's I don't think it's I don't think it's a bad play by any means. I mean, it's such a low line, right? And in this game
Yeah.
where you expect it to be somewhat close and Draymond to play big minutes, and it's like too. I want to call like yes, we call Draymond not a high volume guy, but he will attack like we've seen it this season, right? Where like in the right opportunity, and I think defensively, if you look at if they're sleeping like a Struce on him or they have some kind of defensive setup like that, like he will be aggressive and he will attack the rim if the spots
Mhm.
call for it. So I don't hate it. I don't think it's too bad.
Got good value too. On
Yeah.
on the Heat side though, another play that I really like tonight is in this game. It's a little bit more of a sketchy play because he's had a slow start, but I like Bam. I like Bam's points. I like his PRA as well. It's a big pace up spot for the Heat. I think the Heat are bottom 5 in pace right now, and the Warriors are number 1. And Bam fits that pace well. He can run
Hmm.
with the best of them. He's athletic. And Warriors struggle against the 5. Albeit they did play AD, Jokic, Sabonis, and Ayton this year. So their stats are a little diluted, if you will, against the 5 spot, but it just kind of shows that, talented fives, they just can't really stop. So they give up 23 points per game to the 5, and Bam's best 2 games this season are against high-paced matchups. Portland and Boston. Boston kind of upped their pace this year so far.
Yep.
Those were his 2 best games by far. And the 2 where he struggled a little bit more was the Raptors. Good defensive team against the 5 specifically, and a slower pace team. So I think matchup and pace it really caters to Bam here, and you can get kind of a discounted line at 16.5 because of his slower start. So I like him to cover the points. I like him also to cover the PRA because I like his rebounding opportunity. We saw Ayton eat up the Warriors on the glass as well. And then we know that Bam's a good passer. So if you like his point, if you're scared of his points and you think his rebounds are better, maybe go his PRA or just strictly rebounds. But I really like Bam in this game.
Yeah, definitely too. And I mean, I know it feels like Bam's had a pretty slow start the season, but he's covered this twice already. That 19-point game against the Celtics, like you talked about, 18 points against the Blazers, and then like they played the Raptors twice. Those just kind of very low total scoring games, and he had like 6 shot attempts in that first Raptors game, so pretty uncharacteristic. But yeah, I don't hate the spot.
Yeah.
All right. Any peripherals or anything? Any Kyle Lowry unders? I hate Kyle Lowry.
It's funny.
Man.
I took Kyle Lowry's PRA last game and he popped off like the one game.
Right.
I felt
That's
like
the
I felt like
thing
such a
with
guru at that moment, but I'm like never again, Canyon.
yeah.
Never again take Kyle Lowry. No, peripheral wise, nothing like crazy that I love. Maybe Jimmy.
Yeah.
Assist.
I would like Draymond at 5.5, but I think the 6 flat is a little tough.
Jimmy assist is nice at 4.5. I mean, a game where he'll probably have to push the ball a little bit more. Maybe gets in scenarios where he doesn't have the shot with Wiggins on him. I don't know. There's some things I like with that, but
Yeah.
hasn't really been showing that assist potential too much this year. So
Yeah,
I get that's a little
it's
scary,
tough.
but yeah, definitely Bam's my favorite. I also don't hate Jordan Poole. Um, he's just been so efficient in like limited minutes. Not limited, but off the bench minutes where I think he's playing like high 20s.
Yeah.
So a guy that is like, okay, this guy's going to play 27 minutes and I need him to have like 17 or more points. It's scary, right? Because he has to be pretty efficient to feel good about covering that.
Hmm.
So I don't hate it though. Again, we've talked about this so many times. Poole's on the rise, Clay's on the decline.
Yeah.
Obviously he got kicked out of the last game. I just I don't know. I'd rather go Poole than Thompson, but
Yeah.
Bam's my favorite play here.
Yeah, it's I mean, yeah, Poole's still at his kind of like 27, 28 minute rotational minutes. Even in that last game where Clay was ejected, but yeah, I think it's one of those like plays where it's like if I had to pick one I would play the over, but I do think I feel a little bit better about Bam at those similar lines like you had talked about. Like 15 and a half for Poole or Bam in this matchup. Um just looking at the matchup specifically, right? Jordan Poole against the Heat versus Bam against the Warriors at pretty similar lines. We can take a peek at the Clippers OKC matchup here. This one, we skipped ahead a little bit. Yeah, do you
We're
talk
back to
about
back action here.
what about yeah, we didn't okay, I guess we didn't talk about Harrow much. His line, I'll pull this up real quick.
I don't hate Harrow in this game. His line's just high, but he's been really good this year.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's the starter Harrow. His minutes have been like kind of like all over the place, but I do think that for the most part he will just be like a starter who plays starter minutes, right? So I'm not like too worried about that inconsistency. It's just the 20 and a half. I think I mean, it's another one of those where like I'm playing the over if I have to play it, but I mean, Harrow to get 21.
Again, it's a good pace like spot. So a guy that's going to shoot a lot and maybe even more in a game like this, I feel good about it. I feel decent about the over.
Yeah, I don't know if like you feel differently than me. I know like Harrow's been really good to start the season, but for me, I look at Harrow over 20 and a half and I just think like, why wouldn't I just play this 22 and a half Jimmy line if I wanted to play something,
No,
on the Heat side?
yeah,
So like
yeah,
those
it's a good
being
point.
so similar, and I like Bam too. So like, I mean, obviously, I think all these guys can be close to their lines, but that's just how I feel about it a little bit, right? You've got really good value on this Jimmy 22 and a half, and I mean, I know Harrow's had a really good start, but Jimmy's been a little bit more consistent offensively, and it's not like that's not a bad line for Jimmy. I know Jimmy hasn't been like lights out or anything, but yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
do we
kind of
have
how
a
I feel
three?
about it. What's
I'm
up?
just gonna look at that 3 point line for Tyler. 2.5. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. All right.
Yeah. All
You
right,
have
we
to be
can.
pretty.
Yeah. We can take a look at this a Clippers OKC game. How about Shea? Shea was about to be out. Can you
Beast.
there's somebody who didn't play
God,
Shea in their fantasy league because
I
they
know,
thought he was
right?
out. Oh,
Yeah. Oh, speak.
it's all right. But it's tough. I think Paul George is expected to play in this one. Kawhi is out. 6.5 point spread for the Clippers. This one is in OKC. I think it sounds like Shea should play. I think Paul George probably plays in this one. Giddy's out for OKC, and then obviously Kawhi and Morris for the Clippers. This one's the lowest total of the night, and a 6.5 point spread for the Clips.
Do we have all the lines in this one? Sorry, I'm a little late to switching over here, but
We have some. So I just clicked over here. You've got Shea at 27 and a half. Ugh, that's too high. I'm not playing the under because I think Shea is a bucket, but that's pretty high in a low total game against the Clippers.
oh man, they don't have. Yeah, we're missing some lines here. I was gonna look at assists for Reggie Jackson. He had 6 last time they played, and they shot pretty poorly too. So he probably could have had even more. But they don't have that.
I don't know if
Man,
I was looking at some of these lines earlier, and honestly, like the ones that are up, I just don't
I don't have
love.
Powell either. Yeah, this is kind of strange what
It's
they
like
don't have.
Shea's assist line 7 flat, points line's pretty high. We don't have a lot of the Clippers lines, which I get. We're probably waiting on like confirmation of
Yeah, I mean,
what it's gonna look
Paul
like.
George
But
rarely affects that team right now, so it
yeah,
makes sense
so
they don't have any of that.
right. So I think I'm cool to just kind of ignore this game for now, and we can just kind of talk through the plays that we liked the most tonight.
Yes.
Cool. I know we talked about. We'll kind of go game by game. I know we talked about the Heat Warriors game. We did like Bam. This Dallas Nets game, we liked Luka assists. I don't think it was like one of our like favorites. Liked Bane points. For the Grizzlies Kings. I do like De'Aaron Fox assists. I like that one too.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
would you say? Give me one that you are like a plant flagger for tonight. What's
Uh,
Canyon's play that he's playing tonight?
it's either I have 3 plays that I'm playing.
Okay.
Order of confidence probably goes Bane points, Sabonis points and rebounds, and Bam points.
Okay.
Um, I like those 3 plays. I'm still teetering on if I want to go Sabonis just rebounds or Sabonis just points.
Yeah.
Um, I'll go
I
Sabonis points. Sabonis points.
That's your plant flag.
Yeah, Sabonis
Oh,
points, and
oh,
well, that's my on those 2.
on
I
Sabonis.
was on the
Okay.
fence. Yep, I'll go Sabonis points, and then my plant flag's probably Bane.
Yeah.
But
I
I
think
like Bane
mine
points,
mine is
bonus
probably
points.
Fox assists. I really like this game. I mean, obviously we both like this game, right? We're taking both of our plant flags are in this super high total, high pace game, but I really think it lends it to both of these guys. Obviously De'Aaron Fox just ton of usage. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I like that line. I like that assist line a lot too.
yeah, six
I
and a
think
half. I
it's a
think
good line.
it's yeah, I think it's a good line. It's just like I feel like it's a good line for him this season, like this like 5.5, 6.5 spot. I know 6.5 might feel like maybe point 0.5 higher than you like want it to be, but I think in this game I'm fine taking that. It's one of those like, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean 7 assists for Fox
I'm.
with what he's shown this season.
Yeah, I'm really not too scared of that 6.5 line. I would be more scared if it's seven
Oh,
and a half.
we do get
Even
Keegan
more.
Murray lines. Let's take a peek at Keegan for our boy
Okay.
Austin here because I think he just popped up here. 16.5 points.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm gonna
Um,
be honest. Like I like Keegan a lot. That actually is. I did not expect it to be 16.5.
like you thought I'd be lower.
I thought it would be like I thought it would be like a 15.5. Maybe I'm just tripping. I
I
mean,
mean, he had
he's had 2 really good
19
games. He's covered it in both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the game is really nice. I guess I'll say that.
Do they have a 3-point line for him?
He's just shot really efficient. Is was my thought, right? He's been 4 for 10 from
Uh,
3.
yeah. Let me see if they have like a. Is it
You like that in this game? You like it more than
what?
Sabonis? Would you, or do you prefer Sabonis
Ooh, I like his 2.5 3-point line more.
for Keegan?
Yeah,
He shot
I
me. What
kind
did
of
he
like
do? 4 for
that.
10 in this last game. 3 for 6.
What?
Both of he's
Yeah,
covered it in both of his games, and yeah, it's been
yeah.
efficient shooting, but like him showing like the
I mean, he's one of the
willingness to
best three-point
take
shooters that came out of this class. So
right, and his willingness to. I think that's the other thing, right? It's like
yeah,
it's his ability, and like first 2 games in the NBA, he's shot 6 and 10 threes, which is really nice. A lot of
yeah,
minutes in the games
and
he's played from what I've seen. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the
yeah,
other thing too. I
I would
mean,
say
he was. I think I expected that from him. He was like one of those rookies where you're like, okay, like no way
NBA
they're taking
ready.
Keegan and not playing him 30 plus minutes. But it's been nice to see first 2 games 33, 38. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
not
know.
drafting a kid that's like 21 years old or 22 years old already and not playing. Like
Yeah,
you're not
I
waiting
do.
for him to go. Like he's NBA
I'm
ready.
I kind of like this line. I still think I
Yeah,
would play Fox assists over it. And I'm actually kind of torn
yeah.
because I do like Sabonis points. I don't know. Do you feel like Sabonis feels safer and you like Keegan threes just because you think he can cover that without covering points?
Yes, and yes. Yeah, I feel like I feel safer about Sabonis's usage and the matchup, and then Fox. I guess it's closer to Fox's assist for me than it is for Sabonis.
Yep.
But I think I would lean threes more than points. I mean, Keegan Murray, don't get me wrong, he can go down low and play in the post and stuff, but like we've seen so far, 4 for 10 and 3 for what was it, 6? Yeah,
And
three
it's
for
just like
six.
when he's playing with a guy like Sabonis who like can't stretch the floor as well as he can, like it's hard for him to kind of excel in that role. And so we've seen, these 2 games, right? Got it pulled up here. 6 threes, 10 overall field goals, 10 threes, 14, right? So like that kind of the discrepancy between 3-point attempts and overall field goals makes you feel pretty decent about him. Maybe he goes 3 for 6 from 3 in this one or 3 for 7, and he doesn't cover points because it's 9 points from threes and he only gets you 4 or
Yeah,
5 or 6 or something.
67% of his shots are from three. So
Yeah, and that's what you
yeah,
definitely look out for. So is that on underdog, that 3-point line?
Admittedly, yes, it is. Admittedly,
Admittedly,
because
yeah.
I didn't check in my head, so I was gonna be ready to be wrong. But no, it
Yeah.
is. It is there.
This is I mean, so we talk about like the market width of plays. This is a pretty like I mean, the books don't know what to do with this, man. You've got a plus 116 on the over on the Pinnacle, minus 130 on DraftKings. I think I slightly prefer to his points, but yeah, that's just Keegan specifically, though. I know we're talking about Keegan a lot. I just wanted to mention it. He beat me to build up on the threes. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I know. I like that. Yeah, I think our favorite plays are probably still Fox assist is the one that I definitely want to call out, but I like the ones you called out as well. I do like I like Bane points tonight. I like this game a lot. I like Bane points, and I like Saboner.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's get it.
All right, let's get it. We will see you guys. Good luck on the plays tonight. We'll see you in the stream tomorrow. And as always, make sure you guys are, if you're not on Underdog, link in the description.
Subscribe!
Yes. Oh. No, it's okay. I do the spiels, okay? You're just here to look pretty and talk Keegan Murray shooting threes.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, if you guys aren't on Underdog, link in the description. If you use code Canyon on sign up, that's Canyon right up there. 100% deposit match up to $100, $10 minimum deposit. Terms and conditions apply. I don't think I have to say that. I appreciate you guys. Deuces.